Some people seem to try to make a distinction between the law of Moses and the law of God, or the law of the Lord, as though they were totally different laws. There are some interesting things to be noticed in this regard. For example, the expression, the law of the Lord. If you'll turn back and read Luke 2 and verse 39, and read, of course, the context around it, you'll find here two people who've had a child, and who then proceed to go through all of the things that are required in the law of the Lord following the birth of a child. This isn't the Ten Commandments. This is ritual. This is ceremony. And it is called the law of the Lord. If you go back and read in Exodus 12, verses 13-19, it has to do with the days of unleavened bread. And he says, when your children come to you and ask you, why are we doing these things? Well, you'll explain to them all of the reasons why you're observing the days of unleavened bread, in order that the law of the Lord would be in your mouth. So the days of unleavened bread are a part of the law of the Lord. You'll check 2 Chronicles 31:4. You'll even find burnt offerings connected to the law of the Lord. Well, what does all this mean? Remember back in 1 Corinthians 9, verses 8 and 9? When Paul made his appeal, he says, doesn't the law say the same thing? He doesn't say what law. He just uses the term, the law, and proceeds to quote directly out of the law of Moses. So Paul makes no distinction, particularly between the law and the law of Moses. And we look at different aspects of the law of the Lord and find them applied not to the Ten Commandments in those cases, but to ceremony, to ritual, to these things. Interesting, isn't it? We're told in John 7, verse 19, by Jesus Christ himself, that Moses gave the law against killing. And that's one of the Ten Commandments. It's interesting that in Hebrews chapter 10, verse 28, we find the death penalty connected to Moses' law. Now, they have the death penalty for eating things strangled or for eating blood. They go chasing around people and stone them for that type of thing? Or was it for a violation of the Ten Commandments? Other aspects. If you go back and read 1 Kings 2 and verse 3, you'll find that the law of Moses is all-inclusive. It includes statutes, commandments, judgments, and testimonies. And then if that wasn't enough, you can turn back to Nehemiah 10 and verse 29 and read, quote, God's law, which was given by Moses, end quote. Fact of the matter is that the New Testament writers and Old Testament writers alike don't make the elaborate distinctions in the law of God that we're fond of making. That whenever we try to break them out this way, when we try to make some major issue out of it, I'm sorry, the issue is contrived. Because the writers of the Bible don't make that distinction. The distinction between the law of God, the law of Moses, and the law of the Lord.